Have you ever wondered why Christmas, a time that should be filled with joy and togetherness, sometimes makes us feel even more empty and disconnected? Why, faced with colorful lights, family scenes, and all the celebratory atmosphere, a part of you seems to silently scream that something is fundamentally wrong? If you've ever experienced that strange sensation of being surrounded by festivity but profoundly alone, of participating in Christmas rituals while an inner voice whispers about the artificiality of it all, then you're not alone in this experience. Today we're going to explore this contradiction together through the eyes of Albert Camus, the philosopher who taught us that recognizing our emptiness isn't a weakness, but the first step toward a more authentic life that's truly our own. Christmas arrives every year like a silent promise that this time will be different. The streets fill with elaborate decorations. Store windows display perfect scenes of domestic happiness, and everywhere echoes the message that this is the moment for love, union, gratitude. There's a subtle but constant pressure for us to feel grateful, joyful, connected. And yet, for many of us, this season brings to the surface exactly the opposite. An acute sensation of emptiness, a painful awareness of everything that's missing in our lives, a clear perception that we're playing a role that doesn't completely fit us. Camus would say that this experience, however uncomfortable it may be, is actually a moment of lucidity. It's when the social mask falls and we find ourselves face to face with the reality of the human condition, the constant search for meaning in a universe that remains mysteriously silent about our deepest questions. Imagine the scene. You're sitting at the Christmas dinner table, surrounded by people you love, participating in conversations about the year that passed and plans for the next one. Everyone smiles, makes toasts, exchanges gifts with expressions of affection. The surface of the experience is warm, familiar, comforting, but there's a part of you that observes all this as if you were on the outside, as if there were an invisible glass separating you from the genuine joy that seems to flow around you. It's not that you don't feel love for the people present or don't recognize the beauty of the moment. It's that there's a deeper layer to the experience, a silent questioning about the real meaning of all this, a perception that even life's most precious moments carry with them a strange fragility, a temporality that makes them simultaneously beautiful and melancholic. This experience of double consciousness, of being simultaneously inside and outside the moment, is what Camus would identify as a direct encounter with the absurd. Not absurd in the sense of something ridiculous or illogical, but existential absurd. The irreconcilable tension between our human need to find meaning and purpose and the apparent indifference of the universe to our searches. Christmas amplifies this tension because it's a time that promises meaning in concentrated doses. It promises that family love, tradition, generosity, and gratitude will give us the sense of fulfillment we seek. And when we discover that even these genuinely beautiful experiences don't completely fill the existential void we carry, it's not that something is wrong with us. It's that we're being honest about the complex nature of human experience. Society teaches us to fear this emptiness, to see it as a sign of depression, ingratitude, or social inadequacy. We're bombarded with messages about how we should feel during Christmas, about the importance of cultivating gratitude and joy, about the transformative power of the Christmas spirit. And when our internal experience doesn't correspond to these expectations, we easily conclude that the problem lies within us. But Camus offers us a radically different perspective. For him, this emptiness isn't a defect to be corrected, but a fundamental characteristic of the human condition. It's the awareness that we are finite beings in search of infinite meanings, temporal creatures yearning for permanence, unique individuals trying to truly connect with other unique individuals. Recognizing this condition isn't pessimism, it's realism. And from this realism, paradoxically, we can build a more authentic way of living. Think about how this perspective changes your relationship with Christmas emptiness. Instead of fighting against it, of trying to force feelings of joy that don't arise naturally, you can begin to see it as a form of emotional honesty. The emptiness you feel isn't evidence that you're a defective or ungrateful person. It's evidence that you're a conscious human being. Someone who doesn't settle for easy answers or superficial consolations. You're someone who intuitively perceives that life is more complex than the simple narratives we're offered. Someone who seeks a deeper and more authentic connection with existence itself. This search, even when it results in periods of emptiness and questioning, is in itself a form of human dignity. Camus spoke about revolt as a response to the absurd, not violent or destructive revolt, but existential revolt. The refusal to accept false consolations, the determination to live with open eyes, the decision to create meaning through our own actions and choices, even knowing that this meaning won't be eternal or universally valid. Applied to the Christmas context, this revolt can mean the courage to admit that you feel empty, the honesty to recognize that family traditions, however loving they may be, don't solve the fundamental questions of existence, the freedom to participate in Christmas rituals in a way that's true to you, without pretending to have feelings you don't have or denying feelings you do have. This doesn't mean becoming a bitter or cynical person during Christmas. On the contrary, it can mean a more conscious and therefore richer participation. When you accept that emptiness is part of the experience, you can genuinely appreciate moments of connection without expecting them to carry the full weight of giving meaning to your life. You can feel love for your family without needing that love to eliminate all your existential questions. You can participate in traditions without expecting them to answer your deepest questions about purpose and meaning. You can give and receive gifts, knowing they are gestures of affection in a world that offers no guarantees, which makes them even more precious, not less. There's something deeply liberating in recognizing that Christmas, like any human experience, is simultaneously meaningful and limited. Meaningful because moments of love, generosity, and connection are real and valuable. Limited because no experience, however beautiful, can solve the fundamental enigma of being alive in a universe that doesn't explain its purpose to us. This acceptance of duality allows us to live more fully, without the constant pressure to extract from each experience more than it can offer. Notice how this changes your relationship with Christmas expectations. Instead of feeling guilty for not experiencing the perfect joy that Christmas advertisements and movies portray, you can recognize that these representations are simplifications of a much more complex experience. The person who smiles perfectly in the family photo also carries their own questions, their own moments of emptiness, their own unanswered questions. The difference is that our culture doesn't offer much space to publicly acknowledge this complexity. We create a collective narrative that Christmas should be pure joy, and then we feel isolated when our real experience also includes melancholy, loneliness, questioning, or a sense of emptiness. But what if we could expand this narrative? What if we could recognize that an authentic Christmas experience can include moments of deep connection and moments of deep isolation, feelings of gratitude and feelings of loss, awareness of life's beauty and awareness of its fragility? This broader vision doesn't diminish the importance of Christmas joys. It actually contextualizes them in a way that makes them more precious, because it recognizes them as part of a complex and temporary human experience. Camus taught us that lucidity about our condition doesn't need to lead to despair. It can lead to compassion, both for ourselves and for others. When you recognize that your Christmas emptiness is part of a broader human experience, you develop deeper empathy for the people around you, who probably also carry their own versions of this emptiness, even if they don't express it openly. You become gentler with yourself, less demanding about the feelings you should have, more welcoming toward the feelings you actually have. And paradoxically, this acceptance of emptiness can open space for more genuine joy, because when you stop fighting against a natural part of human experience, you have more energy to appreciate the parts that are genuinely nourishing. Now let me pause to connect with you directly. If what I'm describing resonates with your own Christmas experience, if you've ever felt empty amid celebration, or questioned the real meaning of the traditions you participate in, I'd like you to share in the comments simply, "I feel this too." Your honesty will not only validate your own experience, but also offer comfort to other people who might be going through the same thing. You're not alone in this, and your willingness to acknowledge the complexity of human experience helps create a space where others can also be honest about their own journeys. Sometimes, knowing we're not alone in our questioning is the first step toward a healthier relationship with it. Let's delve a bit deeper into this idea of how Christmas emptiness can be transformed through a Camusian perspective. There's a fundamental difference between emptiness that paralyzes us and emptiness that liberates us. The emptiness that paralyzes us is the one we interpret as evidence of our inadequacy, as a sign that something is fundamentally wrong with us or our circumstances. It's the emptiness that makes us think other people have access to a source of meaning and joy that has been denied to us. This type of emptiness feeds on comparison and self-recrimination. But there's another type of emptiness, the one Camus helps us recognize, the emptiness that arises from the honest perception that life doesn't come with predetermined instructions, that each of us needs to discover for ourselves what makes existence worthwhile. This second type of emptiness is actually a space of possibilities. It's the recognition that you're not trapped by definitions of happiness or success that other people have created. It's the perception that your life is your creative responsibility, not a problem to be solved by following a universal formula. During Christmas, this can mean the freedom to create your own traditions, to find your own ways of celebrating, to define for yourself what makes this season meaningful. Maybe it's spending Christmas in a completely unconventional way. Maybe it's participating in family traditions, but with an attitude of anthropological curiosity, observing human rituals with affection, but without expecting them to solve your deepest existential questions. There's a strange beauty in recognizing that our Christmas rituals are human creations, collective inventions we've developed to mark time, to create moments of connection, to give tangible form to our desires for love and belonging. When you see Christmas traditions from this perspective, they don't lose their importance. Actually, they become even more touching because you recognize the human effort behind them. The decorated Christmas tree is a human attempt to bring beauty and symbolism into the home. The exchange of gifts is a concrete way to express care and consideration. The family gathering is an effort to create continuity and connection in a world where everything is always changing. These traditions are precious not because they carry inherent cosmic meaning, but precisely because they are human creations, expressions of our capacity to invent forms of beauty and connection even in a universe that doesn't provide us with a ready-made script. This perspective allows you to participate in Christmas traditions with deeper appreciation and, at the same time, with less pressure. You can recognize the beauty of the human effort involved without expecting it to solve the fundamental mystery of existence. Camus also spoke about solidarity as a natural response to recognizing our shared absurd condition. When you accept that emptiness is part of human experience, you develop a deeper connection with other people, who are all navigating their own versions of the same fundamental questions. During Christmas, this can manifest as more attentive presence with the people around you, a sharper perception of small gestures of care, a more conscious appreciation of the efforts people make to create moments of shared joy. You can begin to notice the vulnerability behind forced smiles, the tenderness behind traditions repeated year after year, the timid hope behind wishes for Merry Christmas. All of these are expressions of human beings trying to create meaning and connection within the limitations of our condition. When you recognize this, your Christmas experience becomes less about evaluating whether you're feeling the right things and more about consciously participating in this collective attempt to affirm life through celebration, even without guarantees about the outcome. There's also the question of time during Christmas. This is a season that forces us to confront the passage of time in a particularly acute way. Another year has passed. People who were with us last Christmas may no longer be here. Children have grown. Relationships have changed. Our own relationship with life has evolved. Christmas confronts us with our temporality in a way that can be simultaneously melancholic and precious. Camus reminds us that awareness of our finitude shouldn't paralyze us, but should motivate us to live with more intensity and authenticity. During Christmas, this can mean more conscious appreciation of present moments, even when they come mixed with melancholy. It can mean allowing yourself to feel simultaneously gratitude for the presence of people you love and sadness for the inevitability of change and loss. It can mean participating in celebrations with the awareness that this specific Christmas will never repeat exactly the same way again, which makes each moment unique and precious, regardless of how perfectly joyful you feel. The passage of time during Christmas also confronts us with our own transformations. You're not the same person you were in previous Christmases. Your perspectives have changed. Your priorities have evolved. Your understanding of life has deepened through the experiences you've lived throughout the year. Sometimes Christmas emptiness arises from this disconnection between who you've become and the traditions or expectations that made sense for previous versions of yourself. Instead of interpreting this as a problem, you can see it as evidence of growth, as a sign that you're living a dynamic and evolving life. Camus teaches us that authenticity requires the courage to live according to our current understanding of life, even when this means moving away from structures of meaning that served us in the past. During Christmas, this can mean the freedom to redefine what the holiday means to you, to participate in some traditions and create new ones, to honor your connections with others while also honoring your own evolving relationship with meaning and purpose. If you've made it this far in this reflection, I want to make a gentle invitation. This is a space where we explore the complexities of human experience without judgment, where we recognize that the search for authenticity sometimes takes us down less conventional paths. If these reflections on Christmas and existential emptiness resonate with you, if you feel you're part of a community of people who value emotional honesty and philosophical depth, consider subscribing to the channel. Not because you need more content in your life, but because maybe it's worth having a place where you can explore these deep questions without pressure to arrive at comforting conclusions. Here, the journey of questioning is as valuable as any answer we might find. What emerges from this Camusian perspective on Christmas is a way of participating in the season that is simultaneously more realistic and more compassionate. More realistic because it recognizes the genuine complexity of human experience during the holidays. More compassionate because it offers space for both joy and emptiness, both connection and isolation, both gratitude and melancholy. You don't need to choose between feeling Christmas joy or recognizing existential emptiness. You can do both, and this integration can lead to a richer and more authentic experience. Imagine what it would be like to approach the next Christmas from this integrated perspective. You could participate in the family dinner knowing that moments of connection are precious precisely because they are temporary and limited. You could exchange gifts recognizing that these gestures are human attempts to express care, not solutions to deeper existential questions. You could feel gratitude for the people in your life without expecting that gratitude to eliminate all your questions about purpose and meaning. You could experience moments of emptiness without interpreting them as personal failures or evidence of ingratitude. This approach wouldn't make Christmas less meaningful. It would make the meaning more robust because it would be based on a more complete understanding of human experience. You would be celebrating not just the joyful aspects of life, but humanity's capacity to create beauty and connection within the limitations of our condition. You would be honoring not just moments of fulfillment, but also the courage necessary to continue seeking meaning, even when answers aren't obvious. There's something deeply revolutionary in accepting that you can feel empty during Christmas and still participate in celebrations in a genuine and loving way. There's something liberating in recognizing that your existential questions don't disqualify you from experiencing moments of joy and connection. There's something powerful in understanding that the absence of definitive answers about life's meaning doesn't prevent you from creating moments of significance through your choices and actions. This is perhaps the most valuable contribution Camus offers to our understanding of Christmas emptiness. The perception that we can live fully even without absolute certainties, that we can love deeply even while recognizing the impermanence of everything, that we can celebrate life even while being honest about its limitations and mysteries. Emptiness isn't the opposite of fulfillment. It's the context within which fulfillment becomes possible and precious. So when the next Christmas arrives and you feel that familiar sensation of emptiness amid the celebrations, remember that this isn't a sign that something is wrong with you or with your capacity to appreciate life. It's a sign that you're a conscious human being, someone who intuitively perceives that life is more complex and mysterious than our cultural narratives often suggest. This emptiness is a form of honesty, and from this honesty, you can build a more authentic and compassionate relationship both with yourself and with the people around you. Christmas can amplify emptiness, but it can also amplify our capacity to find meaning through conscious acceptance of our shared human condition, with all its contradictions, limitations, and infinite possibilities for creating significance.